Hey, what's up, guys? Getting back on Continental TV here. It's Thursday, the 20th of February, a little after Roma Porto game, and I wanted to get on and make a video of this week in in European competition with the Champions League and Europa League and all that. Um, so all I want to say, if you guys got an opportunity, this is not all I want to say, but if you guys, could, like and subscribe to my channel and, share the video, it helps me out and, it helps grow our community and support our football. And, but anyways, down to the business, I think I can't remember in the last 15, 20 years, this bad of a week. And it just was baffling to me, because in the past couple of years, 2, 3 years, we've been having, good runs in Europe. We had, Roma, they won the Conference League. Fiorentina, they went to Conference League final a couple times. Roma went to the Europa League final. Inter went to the Champions League final. Last year, Atalanta won the Europa League. And I believe Fiorentina, they went to or maybe they didn't. I don't remember. I'd have to look. But anyways, we went to, in the last 3, 4 years, we went to, 3, 4, 5, European finals. And I think one year it was like three of them. Yeah. So anyways, it was a very, disappointing week. And with AC Milan losing and Juventus losing and Atalanta losing. And I was very disappointed. And, it has some major ramifications because continuing on, as you guys know, in the Champions League, there's a lot of money at stake for the clubs, and it impacts how many teams can play in the Champions League next year in Italy. And if you're following the Italian Championship, it's very tight. I mean, the top four is Napoli, Inter, Atalanta, and Juventus, and there's Lazio, Fiorentina, and AC Milan right on their heels. So, one of those teams is going to be very upset. If there isn't 5 Champions League spots, which seems unlikely now that these 3 teams are out. Um, but having said that, I think, just talking about, the teams that are remaining, um, Inter is in the Champions League still in the round of 16, and Roma and Lazio, they're in the Europa League, and Fiorentina is in the Conference League. And here's the deal. Um, you know, as you guys know, I just told you the top four in Italy, right? And now that we may not get the 5th spot in Champions League, I think that teams like Lazio and Roma, they're going to be, trying very hard in the Europa League to win that, because if they win that, they get an automatic bid to the to the Champions League. So we still could get 5 teams in there, um, another way, by Roma or Lazio winning the Europa League, and I don't think it's unfathomable. I mean, um, I mean, uh, what teams are really left in there? Um, what teams are really left in there? I think, let me check. So I know that, Roma and Lazio, they have um, Victor Pazan, Roma, Real Sociedad, Fenerbahce, Bodo Glimt, AZ, Alkmaar, Ajax, Tottenham, Rangers. I mean, honestly, to tell you the truth, I think that that I mean, Roma, I remember when they played in the Europa League earlier this year, they went to Tottenham. They should have beat those guys. And I don't think that Manchester United is so much better than Tottenham. I know there's some Spanish teams, Real Sociedad. Um, so I don't know. I don't think it's that far of a stretch to think in that Roma or Lazio could win the Europa League. And if I'm them, I'm trying very hard to win that, because we may not have a fifth spot. So that's one positive from this week. Another positive from this week is that Inter is still in the Champions League, and hopefully the draws tomorrow, they get on the side where Real Madrid isn't. I think that's a very favorable side, and they'll have to play either PSV or Feyenoord. And I'm, I'm not going to make predictions, but I would say that they would be favored to progress to the round of 8. But nothing's given, as you saw this week. But the hope is that Inter, they could get on the side that Real Madrid isn't in. And then I think it's a more favorable side to get to the final. But we'll see tomorrow how it shakes out. I also think that it's a very it's very possible for Inter to win the Champions League this year. I mean, Manchester City is down; they're out. Inter's not going to have to play all these teams like Liverpool, Barcelona, PSG, Real Madrid. They may have to play one of them to win the thing, or maybe two, depending on, like the quarterfinals and the semifinal and the final, if they make it that far. So, I don't think it's impossible for them to think that they could win the Champions League. I mean, Inter, they already beat Arsenal in Italy. I don't think that they would have I don't think it's, I think they would be favored against Barcelona or Liverpool. The only team that I would be concerned about is Real Madrid. But we'll see. Let's hope they get on a favorable side tomorrow, so they don't have to face all those the tougher teams, and we'll see what happens. I mean, I don't think it's unrealistic to think that Inter can make a deep run, and same with Roma or Lazio for the reasons I told you. Fiorentina, like I told you, they're still in the Conference League and the round of 16, and the only team I see in there, that would be competition for them is I think Chelsea. I mean, I'm not trying to disrespect these teams. They're all, I'm sure they're all good teams, like in every European competition. But, probably Chelsea would be, one of the tougher teams. So, yeah, it was a bad week, but I just, gave you guys some positives to think about, especially with Roma and Lazio and Inter. If we get a favorable draw, we could make a run. I mean, if there's any year, it's this year. I really believe we need to win the Champions League. We've won the Conference League, won the Europa League. We have to win the Champions League. So hopefully Inter, they could do that. Because I truly am sick and tired of this group of people out there in the world that always are finding some reason to, put down Italian football, especially ESPN FC. After those games this week, I went on to listen to some podcasts. I heard what they got to say, and they're pundits over there. They're, one of them, starts talking about, oh, I don't want to rate a league, but basically trying to say the Italian league is weak. And another one was saying that the French league is as good as the Italian league. This is just nonsense, okay? The Italian league is second in UEFA coefficient, and they're not just, randomly got that there. They've been performing good. in Europe, and the league has had different champions each year for the past 4, 5, 6 years. Not the same champion like Paris Saint Germain or Manchester City or Bayern Munich or whatever, or whatever. So you guys are just need to get your facts straight. It was a bad week. Shit happens. I think it's more of a you know I don't think it's an indictment on the league. I mean, the best teams. I just think that um, I think that there's a lot of games being played, and these teams are tired. And the Italian teams, they don't have the funds to buy 50 players to play like Manchester City. And these teams are tired, and they're trying to rotate players out. I saw for the Juventus game, the guy Yildiz didn't play, and the Atalanta game, Lookman came in the second half. I don't know if they're because of injuries, but anyways, I think that these teams are tired, and but yeah, and so I'm tired of this narrative that these people try to create. The Italian football is no good. It's like the fourth, fifth best league in Europe. No, it isn't. It's actually the second, and it's statistically proven. Um, and the French league. I mean, the only team in the French league is Paris Saint Germain, and the only reason why they're any good is because their owner has a lot of money. That's it. What other teams are in the usually in the Champions League in later stages? Not any other team in France. So, anyways, that's what I kind of came on today to talk about this, and I just want to add, what these three teams that got knocked out this week, and I'll start with the Juventus. This team, I don't understand this team. One day they're playing, they beat Inter. The next day, they lose or draw. The next day they beat Manchester City. And like, I don't understand this team. I really don't think that Mota is the guy to lead this team forward. I don't. This team is not consistent. Um, I don't see that they're playing any better than they did under Allegri. Um, you know, I think honestly he's the problem. If you guys, Juventus fans, you want to wait a year, give him another year because he had another year at Bologna, then whatever. But this Juventus team, I mean, they're I think they're the most highly revenue team in Serie A, and they for the past 7, 8 years they haven't been able to even get bounced in the group stage. They lose in the round of 16 to teams that they're not not good, but they should be beating them. I mean, with the Juventus, remember was a force back in the day. They had Zambrotta, they had Del Piero, they had Zidane, they had all these guys. Now you get these players on this Juventus team, it's like they're jogging around out there. They this is not the quality players that team is accustomed to having. And that, coupled with the coach, I don't know what the hell that team is doing. It's terrible. I mean, how you lose to PSV at home is, I don't know. They if you look at their Champions League results this year, I mean, they could have finished possibly in the top 8, they had some silly results. They tied what is this? They beat PSV, then they beat Leipzig. They lost to Stuttgart at home. I remember that one. They tied Lille. Um, They tied Aston Villa. They beat Manchester City. They then they tied Club Brugge, and they lost to Benfica. So I mean, they did not have that hard of a schedule um, to get top 8 here, and you know they need to figure out what they're gonna do because they're gonna be in this Club World Cup in the summer, and they're last thing we need is an embarrassment in that too. I mean, so that's my take with Juventus. I don't think this Motta guy is the future. They've spent so much money getting all these players, and yet I think they spent the most money in the whole Serie A, and they're still like drawing all these games, and they losing these games in the Champions League against these teams. I mean, this is not where Juventus needs to be. They need to really take a hard look. I mean, you have teams like Atalanta and Napoli. They're not spending as much money, and they're in the top of Serie A, and they're doing better in Europe, winning Europa League, winning trophies. So that's my spiel with Juventus. Um, regarding AC Milan, um, like Juventus, they played their first game. Not Juventus, but their first game away at Feyenoord. They didn't really do anything. They lost 1-0. Then they come back to Italy over here. They get a goal, and everything is looking positive. And then this guy, Teo Hernandez, he gets these couple, yellow cards, one for, getting in a scuffle with one guy, another guy for simulating. And that, that's in the rule books. And, that AC Milan project over there, it's a big shamble. It's what it is. I that is such a hostile place to play. In my opinion, it's just a disaster. I mean, everybody was had a problem with Pioli last year. The guy, now you look at it, you're like, wow, the guy, he actually did a good job. They made Champions League. They were more consistent. He actually made the semifinals of the Champions League too. And then they bring in Fonseca and all that all that stuff, and just getting players to the last minute. Like, it doesn't really seem like they got an idea what they're doing. They're just throwing money. People complain, they throw money, they get a player here there. Honestly, I wouldn't want to play for the team if I was some of those players. I mean, the team, it's, in my opinion, it's an embarrassment to Italian football. There's not even one Italian on the team. The coach isn't even Italian. It's just an embarrassment. And, with this game this past week, getting a red card, playing down 40 minutes, I remember back in I think I've posted sometimes for you guys, what was it? In USA 94, Italy, I think they played Norway or something like that. They were down for like 70 minutes with the guy down, and they needed to score, and they score and won the game. And the same thing happened in Euro 2000. Italy down a guy for pretty much the whole game against Holland in the semifinal of the Euro 2000. And the team found a way to survive all the way to penalty kicks and win. Where is that fight? Where is that fight in these teams? Where is it? There is no fight. And these guys, Teo Hernandez was stupid, but these guys, they can't even like, they can't even like, find a way to see the result through. Juventus too. You're winning, and then you give up, you give up a goal, then Weah scores, and then they give up another 2 goals. The rest of the second half, it looked like, PSV was going to win. just by what was going on. There's no fight. How the freaking does, like I told you, those Italian teams, I know this was 20 plus years ago, but they played a man down in Euro semifinals. And these are just two examples. And in the World Cup, in freaking dead heat, and they found the way with a man down and even blocking penalty kicks that got assigned to them during the game. They found the way to fucking win the game. But meanwhile, Juventus and AC Milan, they go out there and they play like that. If it was me, I would that AC Milan team. I'm telling you, pretty much all those players in that team, besides a few, need to be released, and they don't have no heart to play for that team. That team needs to be rebuilt with the Italian spine, Italian coach, and if you want to bring in some other pieces, great. Pulisic, he's been doing good, he could stay. Some of these other guys, but you know I don't get it. I don't get it. That team, AC Milan, is a disaster. And now I'm hearing, stuff that Pulisic is not happy or this and that. I just saw he's not happy, probably with Conceição, because I think Conceição is more of like, you know, yelling at his players, telling them you got to do this, and that. If you don't like it, get the hell out of here. So it's just the biggest dumpster fire I've ever seen for that club. And it's so unfortunate because it's one of the best clubs in history with the best fan bases, and they got to see this. So that team, it just looks like they put in band-aids together, get some players, try to make the fans happy, and no real plan or no real anything. To me, it looks like the team is just being run to make money, and the rest, whatever happens, great. You know what I mean? So Atalanta game, I was a little shocked by that. But I have to say, ever since the Italian Super Cup in Saudi Arabia, they've kind of been on a downfall, man. So I'm not surprised. And if one team could have lost, I would have said it's fine if they lost, because Atalanta has done so much, in the past years, winning the UEFA Cup and doing good in Europe. Yeah, it just was like a lining of it was just like an aligning of the stars for the Atalanta game. I know there was complaints in the first game that there was a penalty kick that there was a penalty kick that was given to Club Brugge, that I guess Gasparini said he didn't think it was warranted. So they were down 2-1. When I looked at that game over there, I believe Club Brugge were playing 4-5-1, very defensive. And when I saw that formation, I said, "Oh wow, these guys are playing very defensive formation over here with one guy up top. They're gonna probably try to, sit back and get go on a counterattack. And I don't know what happened, but I've never seen Atalanta give up 3 goals like that in the first half. I think it was just an anomaly, and but that it was just sometimes you just gotta it wasn't their night. They had bad luck in the first game with the penalty kick, I guess, from what Gasparini said, and and then they had some nice strikes, and they made them, and but Atalanta, they really should not have been in this stage anyways, because if you look back at their results, they played Arsenal earlier on in the competition, and they tied them in Bergamo. They should have won the game. They missed a penalty kick. And then they also played Celtic in Bergamo, and they tied them too. I mean, if they had won one of those games, they would have been in the top 8. We wouldn't even be having this conversation right now. In the same freaking thing with AC Milan, their last game of the competition of the group stage, or whatever you want to call it, the regular season stage for the Champions League, they go to Dynamo Zagreb or whatever it is, Cannavaro's team, and Musa gets a red card. And they're playing the whole game a man freaking down, just like they did against Feyenoord. It's pathetic, man. It's freaking pathetic. And I think if they won that game, they would have finished in the top 8. Let me see. Let me see. So you have Liverpool, Barcelona, Arsenal, Inter, Atletico Madrid, Bayern Leverkusen, Lille, Aston Villa. Then Atalanta came in 9th place. They came in 9th place. If they had won that game, one of those games were Celtic or Arsenal, they would have took Aston Villa's spot. Then you had AC Milan with 15 points. So if Atalanta won one of those games, they would have had 18 points. And if AC Milan, didn't screw up the last game, they would have had 18 points. They would have both been in the top 8, and we wouldn't even be having this conversation. Crazy. So, anyways, that's all I got for you guys. We're gonna keep fighting the cause. I don't listen to this noise with these people, talking shit about Italian football. Sometimes you need luck, and it wasn't, on our side, in the regular season stage, with getting those, wins. And some of it was stupidity. There's no excuses for them losing this week. It's a national embarrassment. No offense to Club Brugge, PSV, and Feyenoord. It's a national embarrassment. But I do think we have some positive to look at. This is not over yet. We still have Inter, we still have Roma, we still have Lazio, and we still have Fiorentina. So let's keep the hope that they're going to do good and go deep, and hopefully one of them could win a trophy. Be sure to like this video, subscribe, and share it. And we'll see you guys next time. Ciao.